This video is brought to you by my new book, The Boy Without Magic, available in both ebook and paperback. Links in the description.
What the? Where is everyone? What's going on? I just want to see Wonder Woman 84! May I be of assistance, sir? Hey, Mr. Usher, what's going on? No one's anywhere, and I just came here to see Wonder Woman 1984. Oh, sir, didn't anyone tell you? There's a pandemic going on. Why, everything's closed, and they can't release the movie. No, that can't be right. But you can still catch it on VOD. What? Go home and stream the movie! What in God's name was that ending about? I don't get this movie. We've all had this experience at least once every once in a while. We see a piece of entertainment that looks really great, just going off of what it says on the back, but then when we actually get into it, turns out it's a colossal disappointment. This was me with this film, Yellow Brick Road. An interesting little horror film that unfortunately just disappointed me in almost every way. There isn't a whole lot I can say about the movie that's actually good, but for what little there is, I will give it credit. For one thing, the premise is great. The setup for it is that back in the 1940s, the town of Fry's population just disappeared. They literally went on a walk on a trail called the Yellow Brick Road, and everyone disappeared, but one person came back. And now, in the present day, a team of researchers try to walk the path as well and to figure out what really went down, and of course, write a book about it. That's a great premise with a lot of potential for a lot of scares, interesting themes, and character development. But unfortunately though, the movie doesn't do anything with it that's substantial or presented well. And there's only one other good thing about the movie I can say, but I'll save that for later. Now, easily the biggest underlying problem with this movie is that it's just not scary. There is one scene that gave me a bit of a shock in my seat, but that was literally a needle in a haystack. The rest of the movie just doesn't really elicit any sense of dread or suspense from me, which does come from a lot of other issues on top of not being scary. For one thing, the characters are just interchangeable. They don't have any real personality or quirk to them until later on in the film. You can tell them apart by the actors' appearances and whatnot, but when it came down to actually describing them, well, basically it's just this. Leader's chick, girl they brought along, navigator, woodsman who's also a navigator, and woman who's also a navigator, and crap like that. It's not until when the movie's nearly over that you actually see any real differences in their personalities, because they just act so much like each other for the majority of the film. The production value as well isn't really that great. I've seen horror films, and even films in other genres, that made use of what was around them in really unique and creative ways to really drive home a sense of either dread, isolation, romance, you name it. Look at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, the night scene where Franklin and his sister get attacked by Leatherface in the woods, that was all natural light. Here though, everything is so crisp and clear, and when it does change things up for interesting looks, it's so clearly done in post-production. Everything just looks the same. Nothing was really done in a unique way to really make the film stand out or have any scene really be unique other than the one scene that's tied to, well, the one scare in the movie and the confusing ending. There's also a lot of really weird editing choices throughout this movie that constantly distracts you, namely filler. As in, when the characters are walking around in between important scenes, you'll just get these random shots of them walking along the trail, and it doesn't really feel like there's actual progression of time. Instead, it feels like they just randomly threw a montage in. And it also ties into another scene as well where It's supposed to be a scene of the characters gearing up, but it was done in such a haphazard way that it just leaves you going, okay, what was the point of that? The last issue I have with this movie is that it so clearly wants to be the next Blair Witch Project or the next Stalker. But because it fails on an artistic level, it cannot be the same philosophical and basically visually poetic film that piece of Russian cinema was, and since there's no real scares in this, it also fails to be the next Blair Witch. I mean, I'll even compare the suit-up scene to the one from the Blair Witch Project. In Blair Witch Project, there's a great scene where the characters go through their equipment, they explain what it is, what it does, and we also learn more about these characters, who they are, their personalities. In Yellow Brick Road, though, in that scene which, as I said before, was part of the editing problem, they don't do that. We see the characters pack up their equipment, but there's no audio. Instead, it's just replaced with rock music, and then ends with a montage of bags zipping up. We don't learn anything, we don't know anything about these characters, so the scene ends up just being a complete waste of time, which pretty much sums up the entire film. To give it one last bit of credit, at the very least, it does pick up during the third act, so I was able to sit through it till the very end, but I can't say it was time well spent. If you've got nothing better to do while in isolation, I can't recommend this film other than something that's just worth killing some time, or maybe to laugh at after a few drinks. There are plenty of other films out there that are worth checking out, but Yellow Brick Road, feel free to skip it.
Alright, thanks for checking out this video, I really do appreciate it and I hope it brought you some entertainment during these tough times. If you really liked the video then please by all means hit the like and the subscribe button, that really help me out. Now for the next movie review, I haven't really decided what I'm going to be taking a look at next, so right now it's up in the air. But for game reviews, I'm taking a look at Doom Eternal next. I've got all that and more coming up, so like usual, please stick around.